While the deepening debt crisis continues to unsettle the markets, Robert Baur is Chief Global Economist at Principal Global Investors, and he joins me now. Thank you so much for joining us here.
My pleasure, Andrea. Nice to see you.
And you. I'd like to begin by looking at Italy. There's been a lot of attention focused on Greece, but Italy is, for some, more worrying now. These very high levels of borrowing, can they be sustained?
I don't know about the borrowing. Italy is has one benefit, is that their deficit is not too small. It's the total level of debt that they have that's the real problem. And of course, they may end up like Greece. They may have to take some sort of haircut. Berlusconi is under tremendous pressure right now, although he survived 51 votes of confidence, I think, in the last 3 or 4 years, so I wouldn't bet against him. But Italy is under pressure.
Now, the real problem, of course, for Italy and elsewhere in Europe is this lack of growth, the inability to become and remain productive. That really is something that doesn't seem to be being addressed at the moment, because all over Europe we're firefighting the sovereign debt issue.
Well, that's really true. Some of the countries are beginning to fight that problem, and it really is true. It's the productivity, a lack of growth in Italy and Portugal. Spain grew pretty well for quite a while, but it's slowing. France is not growing very fast either. Some countries are addressing that. What they need to do is shrink the government, cut government spending, loosen up the labor market, allow some flexibility in the labor market. Ireland, for example, is almost through the crisis. They grew almost 7% annualized in the first half of the year. The interest rates on their debt came down from something over 13 to now, I think, just a little over 7%. So they've actively tried to shrink government. They've cut public sector salaries, I think 20%. They're really kind of leading the way. That's what has to happen in Italy and Spain, Portugal, and it's going to take a long time and probably some new governments.
Some new governments, but no countries leaving the euro. Do you think that this can all be managed by keep everybody in Euroland?
You know, I think that's. I think the market for some months now has underestimated the will and the determination of European leadership to keep the eurozone together and the euro as a viable currency. Think about it in history. For 15 centuries prior to World War II, there was just a constant, almost constant state of war on the continent, including Ireland and the UK. Well, after centuries of bloodshed and after World War I and II, starting in 1950, leaders tried to get some economic, political, and workplace integration. Started with the Treaty of Paris in 1951, where 6 countries signed the European Coal and Steel Community. 6 countries to kind of a free market among 2 commodities. And what we see now is just another chapter in that ongoing trial to try to get some integration there. And the benefits of that integration have been so strong that I think the leadership is determined to keep it together and keep the euro as a viable currency.
Now, while Europe is slowing, it does have a knock-on effect, not just for its neighbours, but globally.
That's true. The Union is as large in total, as large as the United States, a little bigger, and between those 2 areas, plus China, those are really the leadership right now of economic growth. The United States seems to be coming back. Its recession chances are fading. It looks like growth is going to accelerate a little bit this quarter and do a little better next year. China, we think, is in a soft landing, and its growth will eventually stay within the 8 to 9% range. We really need the Union to come together to solve its crisis, have its workplace become more flexible, its countries become more competitive, and some of that growth return.
Okay, Robert Baur, Chief Global Economist at Principal Global Investors. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today.